Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my peanut butter and jam sessions. I'm your host, Kurt Jones, and on this show, we discuss the big and small achievements of ordinary but extraordinary people and celebrating their success. Today on the show, we have Mr. Woodruff or Cliffie, and we're going to discuss one of these many achievements. How are you doing, Mr. Woodruff?
I'm well, thanks, Kurt. Thank you for inviting me to your show, and especially that this being your pilot episode, it makes it extra special. So thank you for having me on your show.
Awesome. And I also would like to say welcome to the show, and I hope you have great fun as well on the show. So I know you have many achievements, but let's focus on the one at hand now, which is your running. Tell me, Mr. Cliffie, was running one of your passions growing up?
I wouldn't say running in general, but I was an active sports person during my school years and even after my school years as well. But life happens and that fell on the wayside. But to fast forward a bit to 2015, and there was just this frustration with work, home, TV, sleep.
Oh, I
type
see.
of thing.
Okay.
So I figured I need to do something, then just come home, watch TV, you know what I'm saying?
I know something extra, yes.
That's it. So I decided to start walking, you know what I'm saying? Just doing a casual walk around the block and that type of thing. And from that, it developed into a few steps more, a longer distance. And before I knew it, I was doing a slow jog. So that's how I actually brought, you know what I'm saying, to the place where I am now in terms of running. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then tell me, tell us about your first race. The first race you entered, and which medal was it? As you can see, folks, we have all these accomplishments in terms of running. Here at the back, should have been in the front because it's a major achievement. But yes, tell us about your first race and how you entered.
I think, for many people, Kurt, and I've heard a lot of people say that it's not, the medals don't really mean anything to them.
Okay.
But I think with individual, it varies from individual to individual because each race I've run has been special for me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I can't say I just entered any race just because I wanted to run. I prepared for it. So there was a story behind every race, and I ran it because I enjoyed it and because I had, you know what I'm saying, it's something I worked towards. But of all the medals that are here behind, there's one that stands out for me, and this is the one I'm wearing behind.
Hey, oh.
It's actually the most insignificant one in terms of distance, and because this is my first race, a 10 kilometer
10K,
in 2016. And I remember this race very well because I was totally unprepared for it from a sense of attire. I didn't have proper running shoes. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have the proper attire to run for. I didn't even have a proper pair of running shorts. I ran on a pair of basketball shorts. I do remember that specifically.
Yes.
And the pair of running shoes that I used for this race was actually a trail running. It wasn't even meant for road running. But I was so excited about it, and I'll never forget it. I walked to the ground that morning, got there, and I specifically remember that I did not have the full fare for it. It was 80 Rand.
Sure.
And I was a bit disheartened, but I came home, and there was somebody at home at the time who actually sponsored me that money. Yes. And then I went back into it, and I ran it, and my first 10 kilometers, and I ran it in under an hour, which was for me a great achievement. You know? But that was my first official participation in any marathon, you know what I'm saying? And from there, the rest, as they say, the rest is history. It just blew up, you know what I'm saying, after that day.
That is so awesome. I mean, the fact that you didn't have the proper gear and you didn't even, and that's actually, good achievement in terms of 10K. Running it in that time span, it actually makes it, because as you can see, like you said, you started walking, so the exercise came into play.
Exactly.
It paid off. All right, okay, awesome. Tell us, explain in your own words how it felt when you were at the starting line about to run your very first Comrades Marathon. Because now we get into the big guns now.
Yeah, that's a big leap now. I think that, Kurt, I was so motivated during 2016. That is when I actually started participating in races and so on. If I had it my own way, I would have run Comrades Marathon in 2016. That's how confident I felt that I could actually get on the road and go and run a Comrades Marathon. But, obviously it wasn't the timing, and I think I was too enthusiastic in my first year. a lot of people say, you've got to take at least, I don't know, 2 to 3 years of preparation and what have you. But, I made that a point for myself that in 2017, I'm going to run my first Comrades Marathon. And I can't actually, put describe it in words, what it felt like on that day. I mean, you're amongst about 20,000 people there. And,
and that's just the participants.
That's just the participants at the start of the race. And I mean the energy, the hype, you know what I'm saying? It's I promise you I was close to tears. I really was close to tears at the time. Because it's really an emotional experience, and it's nothing that I experienced in any of the other races I ran. So it was really, that starting line was something else. And for the 3 races, the 3 comrades that I participated in each time was, just like the first time, you know what I'm saying? It was always special, emotional, that I've made it, you know what I'm saying? I'm part of this 20,000 that's taking part in the race. So
that's really amazing. Well, I have still a few more questions here.
Cool.
And at which point in the race did you get really tired?
Got the first race that I ran in 2017, I think it was excitement. And I think with anything that you do the first time around, there's always that motivation behind you, no matter what it is you're doing, that you want to finish it, you want to accomplish it. Yes. So yes, along the way, you don't want to disappoint yourself, most importantly, amongst other things. So there was tiredness that crept in, but the motivation to actually finish the race was more, you know what I'm saying?
Was bigger
than, you know what I'm saying, me having to quit the race or whatever. There was no way. I've come this far. But I must admit it really was tough. It was nothing that I expected. 90 kilometers is not
it's really no joke.
It's not what I'm saying. It's not around the block, it's not around the corner. And even during your preparation, I don't know, there may be people that run a 90 kilometers, during their training. But for the most part, I prepared maybe 50 kilometers was the maximum I ran during my training.
Sure, okay. Wow, that's like more than half.
Correct. Because I say to break the psychological edge, you need to at least cover half of it.
I see. Okay.
The other half is more psychological.
Wow.
So, but there were a lot of moments when I was tired. I must admit, but like I said, the determination to complete the race and take into consideration the training that you've put into it. You know what I'm saying? That is the biggest motivator. I do believe a lot of people give up or they quit the race. And that's also dependent on the amount of training they've put in as well.
Makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't put your heart into anything, you just slapdash prep, you know what I'm saying, prepare for that, you're not going to achieve the desired results. So you need to put in as much into your training in order to, you know what I'm saying, achieve the desired result that you want.
Okay, cool stuff, man. Oh, and well, I understand that there's some rules among these races and all that. So one of these rules is that you're not allowed to wear earphones or any type of headsets while you're participating in the race. So what was going through your mind running the last 10 kilometers?
Of the Comrades.
What was going through your mind? And how did it feel?
You talk about the last 10 kilometers, Gert. It's a significant 10 kilometers as well, because I think when you get to the top, if it's from Durban to Pietermaritzburg, the last 10 kilometers is when you just get over poly shorts.
Yeah, I don't know about those poly shorts.
Poly shorts is your make or break, you know what I'm saying? And normally, as you get if I recall correctly, when you get to the top of the poly shorts,
so it's a hill.
It's a hill, yeah.
Okay.
And there's also a cut-off barrier there as well.
Oh.
So when you get to the top of that, it's almost like I've made it, but not quite. There's still about the last 10 kilometers to go. And, I think like looking at your time, looking at where you are, and it can be either motivation or a demotivation, because, for example, if you can achieve a 10 kilometers within an hour, for example, and you've got maybe 1.5 hours left towards the cut-off time, so you've got enough time.
Yes.
But if you get to the top of poly shorts, and there's like 30 minutes to go, and you've got 10 kilometers, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's really like, it's a make or break. You know whether you're going to make it or not. But, by the grace of God, you know what I'm saying,
Yes.
on each occasion when I've managed to clear poly shorts or coming down, I've always been within a reasonable time limit
Yes.
that gave me the ability to finish those last 10
So
kilometers.
you pace yourself.
I paced myself, I would say so.
For most of the way.
Most of the way.
Okay.
But like I said, it's just divine intervention, if I could say that when I got to either point of the 10 kilometers, whether it was running up or running down, I was always within a reasonable time frame.
Okay.
That gave me the ability to finish the race, Whether it was about 1 minute, like in 2019, the last comrades I'd done. I think I completed that in 11 hours and 58 minutes, which was left me with just 1 minute before cut-off.
Hey, you made it. You made it. Doesn't matter if it's a second or
Precisely.
you made it.
Exactly. But like I said, that was the last few kilometers before the end of the race. So it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an awesome experience, man. That's like it. Okay. It says here, what was it like, knowing or the point where you realized that you finished the race and you're about to get your medal? What was it like?
I remember the first one in 2017, finishing the race. I think it was 11 hours 20 minutes, and coming to that, coming into the stadium, and you have all these people. You know what I'm saying? That obviously there's people cheering everyone.
Yes.
It was very similar to the beginning. It was a very emotional moment for me as well. When I saw the finish line, and it was
like it.
And
is there time by the finish line
yes,
that I've at least made it?
Yes.
So the people that didn't make it knew that I didn't make it, based on the time,
yes,
and then
the time and also the ribbon as well, because when the moment it gets to 12 hours, it reaches the 12-hour cutoff time.
Yes.
And there's a ribbon they draw across the entry line. So that means, and the sad part is to see people they've come that far and are within meters, but they're still not recognized as comrades marathon runner finishers, even though you're that close. So like I said, by the grace of God, I've managed on all 3 occasions, even though it was about 1 minute, I have crossed that finish line and receiving the medal, you know what I'm saying? Those are my testimonies.
Let's have a look. You can point them out. I mean, where they are.
These are the most significant. The 4 medals I've run.
4 medals.
Yeah, I've run 3, but obviously when you run the 2 in succession, like 2017 and 2018, they call it a back-to-back. You do it in succession. So you get 2 medals for running the up and the down, you know what I'm saying, in 2 years, in 2 consecutive years. And but like I said, that's, and the amazing thing about these medals, if you look at them in comparison to the others, they are so small, they look almost insignificant.
Yes, I see.
You know what I'm saying, but they are the greatest medals, amongst all my other accomplishments. And but like I said, getting this medal is, there's no words to describe it. It's just,
so you have 4 in total.
I've got 4 medals in total from 3 races that I've run.
From 3 races.
3 comrades that I've
competed. Okay, that's so awesome. And here's an interesting one. How did you feel the next morning after running the marathon?
Interesting question, Kurt, because once again, contrary to a lot of popular belief and stories that I've heard, or I've done my research before my first marathon, was that a lot of people are completely wasted after the comrades. They can't move for a couple of days, they're bedridden. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly enough, I was up on my feet. I remember I was we were at the Proche Hotel in Hilton, and the nearest shops were, I would say, about 2 kilometers away.
Okay.
And I took a walk to the shop.
Wow.
I took a walk to the shop and took a walk back. And I was fine. You know what I'm saying? I was fine. I won't disregard the fact there were a few aches and pains here, but nothing that incapacitated me to a point where I couldn't actually walk or do anything. I was up and about. I was fine. I was actually fine.
Oh, that's interesting. I would have thought you would have said no. I was like at home, maybe just chilling and resting, because you just finished a 90K. Now you're up the next morning going to the shop. Now you're doing another 2K, so in total 92 Ks in about 2 days.
Yep.
That's amazing. I think your training also had a lot to do with it, because your body was used to the fact of these long distances and all that, which is it's really interesting to know. And well, you did mention that you participated in like 3 comrades that you ran, and you got 4 medals for it.
Correct.
All right. So I have a bonus question. What advice or tip would you give a new runner that wants to run the Comrades Marathon someday?
You know, Kurt, as I said, look, there's a lot of myths, there's a lot of training methods, there's a lot of stuff out there on the internet, in terms of like training guides and what have you, how to do it. But I think for me, especially for me, I've trained on my own. Unfortunately, I had to train on my own because the club that I actually run for, most of the runners, we kind of like divided, somewhere in Johannesburg, Pretoria, and also like being like almost the granddaddy in the club, if you call me that. I mean, at my age of 53, I obviously can't train or keep the pace of some of the younger runners. So, I didn't want to hold them back, you know what I'm saying, in that sense. So I resorted to training on my own. But I think that, like I mentioned earlier on, Kurt, for anything in life, with regards to what you want to achieve, there is groundwork you need to put in, you know what I'm saying? And you need to plan, You need to have a plan. I mean, with the comrades, you've got a year, you know what I'm saying? You know that if you want to run the comrades, it happens once a year. So a year before that, you start putting your plan into place, run a few races during the course of the year, 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 20, whatever the case may be, which you've got to participate, excuse me, and you've also got to, you know what I'm saying, keep up the training.
Okay.
I guess there might be thousands of people out there who have got different ways of doing it and what to do, and I'm no expert in it, but it worked for me, you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
But my motivation to anybody, who wants to run the comrades is that it's not something that just happens overnight. You've got to be determined, and you've got to be dedicated to you know what I'm saying, to your goal, to your training, and stick to it. Whether it's winter, summer, you know what I'm saying. There were times during those years where I would be out there in the cold. I've run races. There was one race I specifically remember. I think it was one of the last races I ran last year in Wonder Park, and it rained for the full 42 kilometers.
Sure.
But I ran it, you know what I'm saying, and I completed it, and once again, by the grace of God, I didn't pick up any illnesses or anything like that. But that is the determination you've got to have, because one thing with the comrades I learned is that even though the 3 that I've run, it's always been warm weather and what have you, but you've got to understand that you've got to prepare yourself in any type of weather, whether it's raining, whether the sun is shining, whether it's cold or what, your body must be adjusted to anything. Because one thing I guarantee you, if you run the comrades from Durban to Pietermaritzburg, that race, the weather after the race, you go from hot to cold, just like that. So, but as I said, in general, Kurt, it's just got to be you. You got to be motivated, realize your dream, and just keep on pushing until, you know what I'm saying, until you achieve it. So that is what I can basically say to anybody who wants to run the comrades.
The comrades. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Thank you for being on the show once again, and all the best with your next race.
Well, thank you, Kurt, for having me on the show. Hopefully, when the lockdown is finished, you know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of people that are out there right now that are just missing participating in races, and we just pray that this COVID-19 pandemic will blow over soon. People can get back to their healthy lifestyles, and most importantly, we can start racing again. Looking forward to that.
Yes, no, definitely.
But thank you for having me on the show, Kurt. It's been a pleasure, and I do hope it will motivate someone to get on the road and
definitely
yourself.
I think so too. Hey, I must push for 10 and a 15K.
Why not?
And then so we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
So that's it. That's it, folks. Until my next session. Stay peaceful, stay hopeful, and God bless.